Yeah, it's been a really great transition. It's been smooth. I've been really blessed to have a group uh, that's already bought into me, kind of what I'm about. Those guys knew what my expectations were coming in. They done a good job of taking that and really taking that on head and like pushing with it. So the detail part, me really trying to push them and get to their core, they've responded really well. I've been super pleased as a position coach to have a group that's bought into what I'm about, and they're actually kind of taking it on themselves, on their own roles, and preaching it amongst their teammates, holding their teammates accountable. So it's been seamless transition-wise so far.
What was that moment like for you when you found out that you were going to be promoted to wide receivers coach?
It was good. I feel like I still hadn't come down from it. We kind of been, 90 miles an hour since then. So, man, honestly, the biggest thing that I took from that was the kids and their reaction. Right, that gave me a ton of joy knowing that those guys had that confidence in me, and they were going to bat for me, wanting me to be their guy. That was the most fulfilling part of it all. So I still hadn't come down from it. If you talk to me in June, once things slow down, I'll probably have an answer for you.
One more question for you. Do you still talk to Coach Burns? Do you pick his brain about, what it's like to be a wide receivers coach?
I do. I talked to him for one because he's a friend. He did a great job helping me be groomed last year. We obviously talk football, bounce some ideas off. A lot of my conversations with him are life conversations. Who we are at the core is similar, and I think we do a great job of staying in touch and pouring into each other that way. So I talk to him about once a week.
Austin and Vince.
Kelsey, how do you take, maybe some things you learn from Cody, things you learn from other coaches, and then also try to do things, the way you like to do them in a new room where, the only thing that changed was Cody. You just kind of slid into that role. How do you make it your room?
Absolutely. I think no matter where you are or who you're around, you kind of learn something from everybody. I think there's a duality in that. Like, you always have to be yourself also. So you do pull things that you learn, things you get from other people, but I still always got to be myself and do it in a mold where I'm still me. Because the kids recognize that. If you're not you, it's kind of hard for them to respond to it, right? So I do learn things and pull things from other people I see that I like, but I'm always going to do it the way I would do it, my manner and my fashion.
Kelsey, two things here. One, how much last year were you thinking about being in a role like this and sort of acting and thinking about training yourself to be in that type of situation when the opportunity came?
Yeah, man, I think you always have to have the mentality that I'm the guy. Coach Hype does a good job of putting systems in place where everybody is adding value in recruiting, when we're teaching on the field, when we're building our players personally. Like, you have to be able to add value. So in order to do that, you have to take on the role like, hey, I'm the receivers coach. It's no different than what we teach the players, next man up. Like, as soon as I'm not preparing like I'm that guy, when that opportunity comes, I'm not going to be ready. So the entire time, I'm not knowing this is going to come, obviously, but I'm preparing that way, and now I'm giving the kids the most that I can. Like, I'm able to add value and help them in any realm that I'm able to.
So in the recruiting aspect of it, has that maybe been the biggest adjustment to have to take so much more responsibility from that standpoint?
Yeah, the recruiting is obviously it's a bigger adjustment because it's SEC, it's a bigger level than what I'm used to. But recruiting to me is based on relationships and it's based on communication. And those two things happen to be two of my strong points. So it's been great because, again, Coach Heupel has systems in place. It's kind of like the Heupel way. When you're in here, you're going to recruit. You're going to figure out how to get guys here, figure out how to get guys and build relationships with them. And then it's just being more intentional with the relationship piece and then the communication piece. Yes, sir.
Eric in the back and then Jay.
What do you see from Jalen Hyatt this spring compared to last spring and in the fall? What steps is he taking to kind of get better?
Man, Jalen has done a great job of changing his body for one. He's about 180 right now. He's doing a great job of embracing physicality. I think he kind of saw himself in high school and younger years as a speed guy. We talked even before I got the role about him embracing physicality and bringing that part of his game out. He's done a great job of embracing that. I think mentally off the field, he's taking a huge jump. He's in the building 24 hours. A lot of times I'm leaving late at night and he's either pulling off or about to walk out of the building as well. So he's done a great job of buying in and is consistent, right? Regardless of what result he's getting at practice week to week, whether he's having a great day or he's having an average day, he's in the building, he's staying consistent. I think he truly understands the process right now, so like where he is.
I think Eric had a follow-up, I'm sorry.
You know, on Jalen again, is he a guy that is going to play a little bit of slot, a little bit outside, and is he a guy you can move around right now?
Yeah, you know, your guys that are able to do things and add value, you got to find ways to put them everywhere. He obviously played outside before in high school. He's obviously played slot before with us. So we're going to do a good job of getting him in different spots. And he's picked that up well. He's cross-trained well.
With earlier this spring, Coach Golish talked about the adjustment you had to make in terms of scheduling, like getting here earlier and having to factor in recruiting and everything. What's it been like just with the adjustment with your daily schedule, having to go out late, just like the different things you've seen there? And then who are some of the coaches that you've relied on just trying to help bring you along in this new role?
Okay, that's a good question. I may ask you that second one when I answer the first one again. But yeah, as far as the scheduling, man, I got blessed and really lucky because Coach Heupel's done a great job of having systems in place, so it's almost seamless. He's got set times aside for us during the day that, hey, this is allotted for recruiting. He's got set times aside for us to get with players. He's done a great job of having systems in place already, and it's been seamless, right? I'm just more intentional with our guys, right, because it's a bigger group. I got a bigger responsibility, but those systems have been super helpful. Ask me your second question again.
Sorry, Coach Golish mentioned that he and a couple of the other guys.
Oh yeah, mentors. Yep.
Wings, yeah.
So obviously everybody on staff's great. Lean on Coach Golish a lot, Coach Heupel a lot, Coach Ellaby and Coach Halsey have both been great. Their wives have been great. It's crazy because the day I got it, I go home and I'm getting married next year. My fiance, she's talking about all the wives called her. They're getting her contacts to realtors and things like that. And I'm like, I didn't know we were moving, but I do appreciate the help. But it goes to show the culture here, man. Everybody's willing to give a hand. Everybody wants to see you be successful. And again, I feel super lucky and super blessed to be around people like that in this position.
Ben?
Kelsey, just what have you seen from the young receivers? You've got 4 of them this semester. Just what's it been like trying to get those guys ready for the season?
Man, those guys have been extremely awesome. We've created a culture where guys want to be in the building. Those 4 young guys, Cam Miller, Chaz Nimrod, Squirrel White, and Caleb Webb, have been great. They're always in the building. They always want to learn. The game is starting to slow down. We're at that point in spring where slowing down is not moving as fast for them, and you're able to see those guys make plays and really who they are. They've embraced that culture and really come in here and done the work. And you see that, and the older guys see it, right? So they know the competition's real. If I'm not on my P's and Q's, right? If I'm not paying attention to detail, we got 4 young guys in here that are hungry, right? And that just elevates the play of the room. So those young guys have been great, each one of them.
Kelly in the back.
Hey Coach, you talked about taking things from other coaches that you learned and incorporating it in your new position, but also adding your own personal touch. What are some of those specific things you've learned from other coaches to help you in this new position, and how are you also adding your own touch in the room?
Absolutely. So I just think, I think for one, if you guys been at practice, you hear me, I can be kind of a drill sergeant, right? I'm usually screaming a lot. I think one thing with Coach Burns that he did well is he had a great pulse of learning when to press the gas and when to pull off. So a lot of times, if it's been a drill and it's been rapid and it's been intense, right, you don't want to be too pushy. You still want guys to be able to hear you. So the next drill, if we got something similar or a mistake, you may see me grab guys and talk to them and be more intentional, all right, be more intimate with them. I just think having that ability to change paces and be able to feel the group, I think that's important. That's something I learned from him.
What's the next step for Cedric Tillman up in this game?
Said, great athlete, big, strong kid, like super, like uber competitor. His next thing is the detail and becoming a route runner, the fine detail becoming a route runner. Before we got here, Said obviously didn't play a bunch of snaps. He knows that. So really coming into the offseason, it's a lot of detail work at the top of routes and releases for him to become a complete receiver, all right, and truly be able to get open and separate against any coverage, any kind of leverage.
Patrick.
Coach, a couple of guys that are in their second system that are coming back, maybe stepping into larger roles with Ramel and Jimmy Holiday. What do you see from them this spring on the outside?
Both guys have been really bright. Both guys have been bright spots. Both guys playing outside. Jimmy Holiday, he was a core special teams guy. He's done a good job of embracing his role on offense. He showed up and made a lot of good plays. He's a guy that played quarterback in high school, so he has the intellect piece. He understands what's going on, and right now we're seeing him play fast. Ramel Keaton, I think, is surprisingly, the guys always say that surprisingly one of the better athletes in the room. Like, he comes off the ball, he's got long strides, so you don't really know how fast he's running, but he's actually going. Like, he can move. He's also a big target, big body. He does a great job down the field being a big catch rate. He's 50-50 balls. Like, he does a good job with contested catches. Both of those guys, in order to be consistent, again, just got to preach the details, harp on the details. When we're tired, when we're not tired, harping on those things, and you build consistency, from those guys that way.
Wes, here in the front.
Kelsey, I know that regardless of whether a guy's playing or feeling like he's going to start or play a lot, I know it's important for guys to kind of take advantage of every day and do everything they can. But with that said, guys like Hyatt, Holiday, some of those guys, Callaway, when opportunity is there, it's sort of human instinct for those guys to kind of take things up a notch, knowing, hey, I really can start now.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's why you recruit competitive kids. Coach Hype preaches desperate, hungry guys. Like, we want guys that are hungry. And I think in the call of battle, when bullets are flying, that's what you're going to get from competitive guys, right? Not going to have to think about it. They're not going to blink an eye. They're going to go try to compete their butts off, add value, and go win the rep. I think each of those guys, that's what they have, a tenacious competitive spirit. That's what we like about those guys. That's why you recruit those type of guys.
Anything else for Coach? We'll finish with that.
I want to ask about a couple of specific newcomers. Just what do you see from Chaz Nimrod and Squirrel in particular? Squirrel is his speed.
Chaz, obviously, outside guy, like, he's got some freaky traits, like, can really run. He does a great job of tracking the ball downfield. Still getting used to the physicality piece. It's a different level than high school he was at, but he showed some flashes, man. Like, at times he looks really good. He's going to continue to come along, continue to work because of who he is. He's been really pleased with him. Squirrel can freaking run. And he doesn't bat an eye when things get chaotic. Like, he is flying around. If somebody's trying to be physical, he'll match that intensity and that physicality. Like, he's got the biggest heart in the room. He's the smallest stature, but got the biggest heart in the room probably. Like, love that kid. They both been great additions. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Coach.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.